Hello and welcome to the fifth video in our series on intelligent process automation, brought to you by Combined Intelligence and Digital Workforce. Each of our videos is under 15 minutes, so you can have a coffee while you're watching, and designed to give you insight and inspiration into how you can accelerate your intelligent process automation journey. The topic for this video is common pitfalls to overcome and how to overcome them. We sort of realised that real success with intelligent process automation isn't without its challenges, which unfortunately does mean that too many automation programs fail to achieve the level of benefits that are expected. In this video, we discuss some of those key reasons behind this and how to overcome them. If you've missed any of the previous videos or want to catch future videos, then please follow us on LinkedIn or subscribe through the links provided with this video. The videos are released weekly during May and June 2021, and the topics are listed on the slide in front of you and also with the post. If you are interested to register to join us for a free interactive webinar on intelligent process automation that we're hosting on the 17th of June, we've also provided a link to be able to do that. You'll be able to submit questions in advance and also in chat while we're actually doing the webinar. So feel free to register, everyone's welcome. I'm Steve Sheppard, CEO of Combined Intelligence. We're a specialist consultancy business focused on helping organisations realise the full potential of intelligent technologies, from vision through to realisation. I'm joined today by Karri and Craig from Digital Workforce, and I'll hand over to Karri to introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Steve. So I'm Karri Lehtonen. I'm the head of business development here at Digital Workforce. We're a global advisory and services provider in the field of intelligent automation, focusing mainly in the EMEA and North American markets. Craig, over to you.
Thank you, Karri. So my name's Craig Nicholson. I'm the Chief Advisory Officer at Digital Workforce. So my role and remit is overseeing the advisory services that we have within our organisation. My background is I've got 10 years in digital transformation, largely 8 years working for Blue Prism, one of the RPA vendors. So I'm delighted to be joining you today, Steve.
Fantastic, Craig. Yeah, you are probably one of the most senior RPA people in the world, if I had to hazard a guess. So yeah, let's go to today's topic, so common pitfalls. Sometimes things do not go quite to plan, and I guess my first question would go to Steve. So what are the key challenges, in your opinion, that cause these automation projects to fail? And what do we mean by failure?
Thanks, Karri. Yeah, there are a range of sort of challenges or pitfalls that perhaps some organisations fall in when they set out on their journey. And ultimately, as they get through their journey and they want to transition into scale, if we sort of talk them in different areas, if we sort of focus on strategy, really, when you set out to look at how your organisation can benefit from the technology, your strategy has to be looking at, what you want to achieve as the organisation and as a business, rather than purely being sort of a technology strategy to use automation, perhaps to focus on cost reduction, and one of the key drivers, but ultimately not the only driver. So getting your strategy right is sort of critical to this, because I think some people have focused too heavily on a narrow area of automation or just purely on a cost out initiative and have failed to see the bigger picture and therefore realise the full benefits that are possible. Process, another interesting area, which is a bit of a combination of, what is the life cycle for automation? It's not exactly the same as development, for example. It's one where you have to have an appreciation of the business and the organization and what you're helping support in terms of transformation through automation to what will typically be an operations area. How can you pick the right opportunities? How can you, have a methodology that will efficiently deliver the outcomes that you want from that program, and ultimately be able to support and maintain that for a longer term period. People, and if you had a chance to watch our video 3, we talked a bit about the skills and the key of having people with experience within your team, whether you're building your own capability or whether you're bringing external resources in to help you and support you. If you can bring that experience, people who've done it in before, then it will certainly help overcome some of the challenges that perhaps people who haven't got that experience would, and pitfalls that they might fall into. Technology, various areas where you could fall short. Not necessarily just about the platform you select, but this will be a change to how your IT works. I worked with an organisation, for example, where their method for providing user accounts relied on the fact that it had a human step in there where someone would sign off having that user account to have permission to access a particular system. But if you're automating and you're getting a piece of technology, a robot, for example, to do that, then that's going to be a change to your process to allow you to actually have a bit of technology have an account rather than a person. And some of those things you don't think of when you start the program, but they can end up being a pitfall and something that could block what you actually are going to achieve, and certainly delay things and make it all a lot harder than it really should be. So those wider considerations, I think, sort of come with the key challenges that you need to pick up on.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really, there's quite a few different pitfalls where you could fall into. I suppose, Craig, anything outside of these four that come to your mind based on your experience?
Well, Karri, I mean, these four foundations really are first and foremost fundamental as part of building out an automation operating model. Yeah. So anybody starting on the journey will ultimately find that the activities that they carry out fall under these four foundations. Yeah. And obviously there are a lot of challenges, but there are different pitfalls that actually organizations find themselves falling into at different parts of their maturity. So, we could literally be all day long talking about all the pitfalls, but I thought Steve put it very well in terms of, high level, all the areas here that we can see on the screen. And they are all key areas that need to be covered that fundamentally have their own sort of pitfalls.
Fantastic. So let's talk about some of the reasons and more importantly, how can you avoid? How would you guide companies not to fall into these areas?
Certainly. I'll start obviously with the strategical foundation, and the first and foremost is from my experience is getting that senior exec C-suite level buy-in into what you're looking to try to achieve. From my experiences where I've seen organizations that do this at the side of the desk, or they do it hiding it away from IT, so IT don't take over it as a program of work. That's where automation programs stall. All the vendors mention when starting out in automation, this is an IT software supposed to be governed and controlled by IT, but it's meant for the business. It's meant for the business to be able to make sure that their operations become more efficient, more effective, and drive towards cost reductions. And as Steve put it well before, there are fundamentally different visions, missions of why people are leveraging automation today. But in the strategical piece, getting that senior level buy-in, somebody that's going to be that champion and be part of that vision and mission in terms of what, as an organization, you are looking to achieve as part of automation. Cultural adoption really does take a strong footing in the strategy foundation. Making sure that the rest of the organization is aware of what you were trying to do, why you were trying to do it, and getting those other areas on board as quickly as possible is really key as part of your strategical piece, because then it alleviates any fear. A lot of organizations that I've worked with where I've had actual individuals asking me, are they going to lose their job? That's what automation can do, can create that fear. But by having that executive senior level sponsorship high up who can drive that into the organization and drive it wider as well, will alleviate those fears.
Fantastic. No, I could listen to you all day because your stories are fascinating, over those 10 years. Any other area? I mean, strategy, definitely, as you mentioned, that's where, if you get it wrong, you're not going to be successful. But any areas where you maybe see less of a problem or where you don't bump into so often in these four categories?
It's a great question, Karri, actually, and I naturally have to probably pinpoint people. Because, and the reason I say people is, depends on the level of maturity. So when people are starting on their journey, they're initializing the capability, you tend to find that everybody focuses on getting everybody jumped on the training to be a developer straight away. And I sort of tell people to slow down. You know, great, you do need people, you do need that development, you do need those skills, you know, because you are sort of more or less creating this center of expertise rather than a center of excellence when you're starting out. But the pitfalls to begin with are not really, on the people, they don't really materialize because you only need 1 or 2, 3 key people to get the capability going. You know, an analyst to go and find the work, the process, the right process, but then a developer to develop it. And you've only got 1 or 2 processes, so a developer can then fundamentally be building and maintaining and supporting at the very beginning. So people, I would say, is very much at the beginning of the maturity where we see the less pitfalls. However, as organizations grow through the maturity, that is where the further pitfalls come for people, because there's an element of what I call segregation of duties. So as you start out, you're starting very small, you're small scale. But then as you scale up, there's more processes, there's more monitoring, there's more maintaining, there's more operational support. That's where I find organizations don't actually build that team. They don't actually then have that segregation of roles and responsibilities. So then actually making sure that there is a key role for a developer, a lead developer, an analyst, a support analyst, you know, even a process controller looking after everything. But I think to answer your question, Karri, I think to begin with, people is the foundation. I'd see the less pitfalls.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Steve, any thoughts here?
Yeah, so I was just picking up on that part that sort of Craig mentioned around support and maintenance. You know, one of the things I've seen through a number of sort of RPA programs is there is always this driver initially to automate some processes quickly to get value, and that's a good thing. And you can demonstrate and you can, you know, show the business the value of the technology and how it can help change, you know, a departmental function in terms of how it implements tasks. But I think that transition then from that initial success to the scale side of things is one of the hardest points. And one of the elements is around, you know, going wider from a task to a process-based automation. But another is not getting drowned out by a high volume of support and maintenance that you're doing. Because when you implemented your initial processes, they perhaps weren't perfect. You didn't perhaps consider how we can reuse components across multiple processes. You know, the value in having a bit of design thought in what you're doing rather than just trying to replicate an existing as-is process. If you can put that sort of intelligence, given our topic, into what you're doing, what your approach is, so that you can design a bit for the longevity of your solution, your environments and so on, then that will certainly aid the transition through to scale as you go through the program.
Yeah, we certainly see that as a company many times over, and I'm sure Craig's seen it even more times in the past. But yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen. I think that sort of concludes our discussion today. So thank you.
That's Steve. Great. Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Karri. That's it for our video today. We hope you found it interesting. This was the 5th of our series of videos that we're releasing during May and June 2021. If you want to access any of our previous videos or you want to subscribe to future videos, then feel free to follow the links that we've included on the screen and also posted with this video. The other thing as well is you are very welcome to attend our free live interactive webinar, which we're holding on the 17th of June, which is the culmination of our discussions on intelligent process automation. It's somewhere that you can actually raise questions for us that we'll do our best to answer, both through sending us an email, and we'll provide a link to that, and also by joining us in the session and raising questions as we go through. Hopefully, you'll find that interesting, like you have the videos, but thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll get a chance to watch the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you.